Right, guys, I see this earlier and had to cover it quickly. We all know, given their recent actions over the summer, taking the knee like cucks, the Premier League is not exactly in everyone's good books. Well, the Premier League manager today has decided he wants a few more people to turn against them because he started attacking Brexit. His anti-Brexit outburst this time stems from the fact that after January, they can no longer buy as many under-18s from around the world as they please, and all EU players will need work permits like players from every other nation has to. Now, Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool manager who was crying like a small girl about Brexit, has a track record of Brexit derangement syndrome, but I'm sure that will shock no one. The FA have claimed it's down to promoting English talent, but if you ask me, that is just more bullshit. These are standard rules for football around the world, and now that we might actually leave the EU, the rules for football change, like this country's immigration rules should. As to whether they will or not remains to be seen. But at least for football, they are trying to limit the amount that are brought over here by these football clubs. Though let's be honest, they are not the causes of the problem in this country. But anyway, the left-wing cesspit known as The Guardian picked up on these Brexit derangement syndrome with this article, so let's take a look at that. It headlines, "New transfer rules are example of negative Brexit impact." Jurgen Klopp said he is still waiting for the first benefits of Brexit following the Football Association's announcement of its ramifications for English football. The FA, in conjunction with the Premier League and EFL, confirmed this week that English clubs cannot sign foreign players until they are 18, or more than 3 overseas players under 21 in a single transfer window once the UK leaves the EU on January 1st. Other rules include work permits allocated on a points-based system for all transfers from EU nations. So like I said, just essentially the same as it is in every other country that's not a part of the EU. He is making out like this is some big thing, likely because he just doesn't like Brexit. Aside from that, it's absolutely no different, like I've said, to anywhere else in the world. Klopp, a long-time Brexit critic, believes the Home Office would have enforced greater restrictions but for resistance from many within the game, and he considers the transfer rules another example of Brexit's negative impact. Well, Jurgen Klopp, you do know you can actually move out of the UK. Unlike us, you don't have to stay here. You are rich enough and you weren't even born here, so you could literally just go home. If Brexit is so terrible, I'm sure you would rather go and live back in Germany. The choice is of course yours. But I do have to say this realistically has nothing to do with Brexit, it's just the way it should have been always. And I love his claim of a negative impact of Brexit, so what's the other one if he claims this is another example? I'm still yet to see negative impacts from Brexit simply because it hasn't even happened yet. Last I checked, we were still waiting for Boris Johnson to sell us out. It goes on though, the Liverpool manager said Michael Edwards, Liverpool's sporting director, was involved in a lot of these discussions and the clubs fought pretty hard for a solution, kind of a good solution or as good as possible. Without the discussions, it would have been much worse. I am still waiting for the first advantage of Brexit that someone can tell me. Well, I will tell you, if the government actually does their job and what they are supposed to, we will take back control of our laws, our fish, and everything else relating to this country, especially our money that we was pumping into them every single month. Now, being that we are led by the Conservatives at the moment, there is big doubt as to any of this will happen, and we already know them stopping immigration is just a pipe dream. Boris signed us up to the Global Compact on Migration, so we're going to end up with a fuck ton more arriving here. From the EU, maybe a few less, but from the rest of the world, definitely there will be thousands more inbound. You can bet your bollocks to a barn dance on that one. So there you go, Jurgen Klopp. I've given you some pros and cons of Brexit right there, although technically the cons were actually the cons because of the Tory party, not Brexit. He goes on though, what improves after Brexit? It's obviously not my thing to judge, but as interested person, I just wait until the first really positive impact of Brexit. Maybe I didn't read it because I'm too much in football, but I don't remember a lot, to be honest. Well, if you are struggling to remember a lot, maybe you're going senile like old Joe. But the benefits obviously will be plentiful once Boris Johnson takes us out, like I said, if he does. We all know what a cuck he is at the moment, so anything is possible. It goes on, the governing body endorsement plan is designed to promote more homegrown talent in the English game. Klopp, however, believes English talent is thriving because players can train alongside some of the best youngsters in Europe, an opportunity that will be lost post-Brexit. No, they will just have to be more selective about the youngsters that they pick and actually get the really good ones in. People, the FA or whoever, want to make sure that clubs don't sign too many players from other countries because they are afraid that not enough English talent makes their way. But if you look at the English youth national teams at the moment, they are in the top 2 or 3, if not the top, in nearly all age groups. Talent-wise, they are 100%, and that is the way we did it before. Yes, and that will still continue afterwards. At the end of the day, most clubs don't bring in 4 or 5 youngsters from other countries anyway, especially not just from the EU. Now, with any sort of luck, we will end up with less dead wood and still get the decent players that we were getting before. The clubs will just have to be a bit smarter about who they scout. This is not fucking rocket science, and he knows it. If you ask me, he's just come on here to have a quick rant and a bit of Brexit derangement syndrome that he had to let out. Maybe he had plans to buy up an entire team from a different country so he could replace everyone in the Liverpool squad. If I remember correctly, they ain't doing as good as they did last year now. Maybe he's getting ready for a January clear out. Of course, I'm only joking, he's not doing that. Personally, like I said, I think he's just bitching for the sake of bitching. He didn't get his own way, and this is all he can do is blame it on Brexit, despite the fact that, like I've said, the FA have been talking about doing this for many years now, long before Brexit, let me tell you. But we all know how useless the Home Office is. I wouldn't bank on that changing anything, let's be honest. They will probably give special exemptions to the football clubs like they have done with the travel restrictions, as I covered yesterday. Taking the piss out of us to benefit the rich and powerful is what they do.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.